Hello, welcome back to my daily Tour de Vie coverage. We're now on to day 10, so let's get over to track leaders and have a look and see what's going on. Our cat and mouse continues at the front of the race. So Justinus continues to lead, but his lead has never really got more than 40 or so miles over the last couple of days. And Ulrich, he's just ticking along, riding his own race, keeping Justinus in check. Currently, the gap, it's about 10 miles, which is nothing really. So I think Justinus is starting to feel the pressure. They're both flying along. They're probably under 13-day pace at the moment. So we shall see. The record is beginning to look pretty likely, providing there's no kind of issues in New Mexico. Let's keep an eye on that. And it's the same story. Let's go on to the race flow. Justinus is ahead. He stops for the night, rests. Uber closes the gap again, and then he rests and the gap goes out. So it's just leapfrogging. And if Ulrich can shut down on sleep, then that really is going to close that gap quite quickly. And as you can see, they've really pulled away from the rest of the field. And Lawrence Tendam, he is just floating around in no man's land in the middle. We'll have an update from him later on. They're about to leave Colorado, past Indiana Pass, the highest point of the whole route, and I think Ulrich is probably staying in Skyline Lodge in Platoro. Let's have a little zoom in. Yeah, it looks like he is. So there's there's a lodge there, and there's some lodgings, and you can get food and a bit of resupply. It looks like probably Justinus stayed there and then moved on again. I'm not sure whether he's now sleeping or whether he's having tracker issues. I suspect he might just be having another power nap. It's 12 a.m. So, yeah, I think he's probably trying to keep out of sight of Ulrich. So, I would say that Ulrich is probably psychologically at least got the upper hand. Although Justinus does still seem to be riding pretty quick during the day. Behind that, the front three. This is where the race is getting quite exciting. So Cade Ridgeberger, he's now basically leapfrogged all the others into fourth position. He's now ahead of Thomas Fabian, and that's going to be quite a nice little race over the next few days. They're both sleeping, so I guess that could change quite easily in the morning. Cade is in Frisco. Thomas is in Silverthorne. They're currently both ahead of Lael's Dot, so that's 15.5 days, which is a pretty strong ride. Megan, she seems to have slowed a little bit. I think the basin really just smashed a lot of people, and we'll have an update from Megan shortly. So it's about midnight, so I imagine she's pushing on to Silverthorne and will stop the night. So we'll see tomorrow, how those three kind of how they wake up and where they end up. Megan's dropped behind Lael's record pace at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see if she can pick that up as she goes on. And Anna Jaeger, she's slowly closing the gap down to Megan as well. So now, she's on route mile 1621. Megan is 1660. So she's taken 20 or so miles off her in the last day and a bit, and it'd be interesting to see. If she can continue that. Is she pacing her ride a bit better? I think she was a little bit ill. We saw on one of JP Devari's posts 3 or 4 days ago now, she was a bit sick. So if her health is improving, she's maybe riding into it, maybe a bit more experience, having ridden the divide before, she might be able to close that gap down. So we've got basically, we're going to have a really interesting race in the women's field and the men's field, and I can't wait to see how that develops. Right, before we go any further, obviously Redshift, as you know by now, are supporting my coverage. So a big thank you to everyone at Redshift for supporting me. Check out the website. They've got the suspension seat posts I'm a big fan of, loads of different bar types, cool little lights, things like that. Check out Redshift, and a big thank you for supporting what I'm doing. Right, now, before we go any further, let's check out the single speed race as well, because actually like I said, everyone has been basically smashed by the basin, I think, and it's really shaken things up. So we did have Alex, Johnny, and Zach basically on the same time. But there's been a bit of a change, and it looks like Alex has got the jump on Johnny, and Zach seems to have dropped off a little bit now. So it's basically between Johnny and Alex for the single speed race at the moment. The gap, what was Johnny, 15:50. 30 miles. Johnny looks like he's still riding at the moment. Alex looks like he's had a little rest somewhere. So again, we've got good racing all the way through the field here, and it's going to be good to see how that develops over the last few days of the race. Well, the last few days for the leaders anyway. These guys have probably got almost a week left. So yeah, that's going to be good to watch. Right, now I've got some updates. Let's just have a little look where our lead riders are at the moment. I'm going to go into Rider GPS and we'll zoom in and see what they've got coming up. So currently they are in this section here. So you can see from the elevation scale at the bottom, they've passed the highest point of the whole race, and now they've got a bit of a climb up into New Mexico and then sort of dropping down. And then the last of the high altitude is kind of done then. Don't get me wrong though, the riding is still tough in New Mexico. So looks like Justinus is currently on the highway here. Let's zoom in and see. He's not quite made the highway. So there's a long sort of dirt road down here. From what I remember when I did it, it was really rough and washboardy. I was glad to hit the highway, and then you got the road pass up the highway before you cross the border into New Mexico. I think it's the Carson National Forest, and then onto the Brazos Ridge. This is spectacular on Brazos, so it's going to be a real treat for those guys as they go forward. And then it's kind of the big thing then is heat, and if it rains in New Mexico. There has been some kind of talk of rain in New Mexico. I've not seen a detailed forecast as of yet, but if it rains and it gets muddy, then it can be hell, and just peanut butter mud, and any thoughts of a record could evaporate fairly quickly. But let's hear from both Justinus and Ulrich and see how they're feeling. So we'll start with Justinus. Now, both these messages were from what would have been, it would have been this morning, first thing. So this is when they were leaving Sergeants after Marshall Pass. So they've ridden a full day since this. But to be honest, it's kind of status quo. The situation hasn't changed much. So let's listen to them both and see what they've got to say.
He's never fucking giving me a break. What the fuck? Oh man, I thought yesterday when I was in Salida, I checked the tracker, I think I had 55 miles. I thought oh, okay, finally. And I arrived to Sergeant's. I had to rush there too. I don't know how he's gonna get a cabin or whatever, because I couldn't get it through via phone. But I managed to arrive 5 minutes past 10, so they still were tidying up after workday. And I had cash, and that worked miraculously. So I got a shower and I just slept in that shower afterwards, which wasn't bad, warm and nice. Getting going now. Soon we'll turn off the main road. Yesterday the cold start was also very hard. I felt like I had nothing, but then later on checked the tracker and I managed to increase the gap. So I don't know, sometimes the feelings they don't correlate with the form. But I'll see how today, if leg's gonna warm up, warm in.
So that was Justinus yesterday morning. You can feel the kind of frustration that he's not really managed to break Uber yet and get that big gap. So we'll see if that starts to affect him psychologically. I mean, physically, I think he's riding faster than Ulrich. But this might just be a bit of a mental game at the moment. So let's hear basically Ulrich's take on the whole situation. It's quite interesting to compare the two. So this was Ulrich, very similar time to Justinus. I got a cascade of messages. Obviously, everyone woke up, was on the road, and had phone signal. So I got quite a few messages yesterday morning. So this is from Ulrich.
Yeah, nice. Last night we both slept in Sergeants, but Justinus left right before I came in, so just to avoid meeting. Smart move. would have done the same. Anyway, I think I had a little more sleep. Slept 3 hours and left after 3 hours 20 the scene again. So it was pretty fast, in and out, quick and efficient. And yeah, still sitting here, enjoying actually the discussions ongoing on the different perspectives of whether it's better being chased or chasing. So I was a lot of time the one who was chased. Now I'm the first time for a longer period the guy who's actually chasing. And I have to say I enjoy it a bit, because you have a bit more time to study, to focus, and to prepare your move. And I'm charging for mine, so let's see. It's still way to go, so keep it up, and let's ride the bike today.
So that was Ulrich yesterday morning, and yeah, the two sides of kind of the story there, and yeah, I find it quite interesting actually, the whole the psychological effect of chasing or being chased. I've been lucky enough, well, a few years ago now, that I could sort of do all right in some of these races, and I've kind of been chased and been chasing, and to be honest, I prefer chasing. I'd probably prefer to be in Uber's shoes at the moment, knowing that the gap isn't going and that you're kind of putting a lot of pressure on your steerness, and you know that does wear down, and it takes us one small mistake, you know, like a missed resupply or not taking enough water or something like that, and you can really panic. And 30 miles, you know, it's a fairly big gap, but you know, that's oversleeping, that's, you know, a mechanical, that's something silly like that. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race over the next few days. And Ulrich sounds like he's kind of in control. I mean, he sounds like he's in control on the phone. In real life, we'll never really know. So yeah, we shall see how that pans out. I've also got an update from Matteo Perez. So he sent this the other day. He is just leaving the basin, I believe. So let's hear what Matteo's got to say.
Hey Josh, it's Matteo checking in from Savory, Wyoming. Just getting to the final pieces of the basin here. Wow, what a push. Not the easiest. I think I got lucky, all things considered, though. Tiny bit of mud left over, but the wind and the exposure in this long of a race, in that point of the race, was maybe the low so far. The rain doesn't even compare, neither does the cold, but onward we go. Colorado, here we come.
So that was Matteo. It sounds like everyone's really suffered in the basin this year. So he's kind of sandwiched between Alex Kowalski and Johnny Price, our sort of lead two single speeders. So they're through Steamboat Springs now, and they've got these series of 3 climbs before kind of the bigger ones of Boreas and Marshall, and then ultimately heading through into New Mexico. So yeah, nice work, Matteo. Thanks for the update, and yeah, keep on going. And let's have an update from Megan now. She's been posting these really good things on Instagram. So let's hear about her experience in the basin.
Tour Divide update, day 10. Last night I made it to Brush Mountain Lodge. It was like a dream come true. I got to meet so many awesome bikepackers like Alexander Houchin and Katie Strempke. And
hold on, let me try and find that on a story. There we go.
Last night I made it to Brush Mountain Lodge. It was like a dream come true. I got to meet so many awesome bikepackers like Alexander Houchin and Katie Strempke. And then I had to go to sleep. I ate my pizza and showered and passed out, and made it into Steamboat Springs this morning to hit up a bike shop to get my chain and brake pads replaced. And some stuff wasn't shifting so well, so I got all that tuned up, ready to head out and see more of Colorado. Overall, things are going well, but I just feel pretty fatigued, and I feel like my decision making is not as snappy as it used to be, and I'm a little more frustrated with things like rainstorms and hail and peanut butter mud. But it's beautiful here. I'm really stoked to explore this state.
So there we go. Megan stopped, had a bit of a stop in Brush Mountain Lodge, and again in Steamboat Springs just to do some bike maintenance. That could explain why the gap has reduced to Anajaga slightly. But you've got to look after yourself, and hopefully that gives Megan a bit of a reset, and she can sort of finish this race nice and strong. And here's some of the views and stuff. It's pretty cool. I really enjoyed Colorado when I was on the Divide. So yeah, it kind of makes you want to go back again. Also got an update, Lawrence Temdam, from his Instagram. So let's have a little look. It is Dutch again.
Slapen, 4:30 stond de wekker, maar die stond dus niet. In Steamboat werd ik opgewacht door een paar mechanics van een bikeshop. Mijn handen zitten voor kloven, dus ik heb van die handschoenen aan nu. Ik heb een bidonhouder gekocht, nieuw brilletje weer, vol sportvoeding, elektrolyten. Nou, mijn schoenen zijn weer schoon, zullen we maar zeggen. Ik word al heel de tijd achtervolgd door regen. Hier heeft het geregend. En ik rijd bij 10 per uur minder rap door de modder. Gelukkig kan ik wel blijven fietsen. Dat is weer een streepje door de rekening. We hebben hier een kwartiertje in het bermpje getukt. Als er nu auto's langs rijden, dan hoor ik geen modder meer. Dus nu kunnen we verder.
Toch even kijken waar hij dan die vertraging heeft.
So yeah, that's Lawrence. Sounds like he's having a bit of a rough time. Again, that basin really does seem to have done a number on a lot of people. He again stopped in Steamboat to get his bike sorted out. And he's on the trailside naps now, so he's obviously starting to feel it. And finally, I just want to finish up with our single speeders. So Alex Kowalski, he's actually riding this race in his footwear of choice are Crocs, and I quite like the sort of the banter between the single speeders out there. So yeah, Johnny is basically I can't work out whether he's cut the toes out of his cycling shoes or whether he's just brought some sandals. But he's obviously going for those marginal gains, a bit like Alex, and yeah. So both our single speed leaders are now wearing sandals. So hopefully that works for them, and we'll see their speed increase dramatically over the next few days. So that's all I've got for today. I'll be back in tomorrow. Keep an eye on the tracker, before the next report, because I really do think there could be some exciting stuff at the front of the race very soon. I think we heard Ulrich he's probably going to make his move at some point. Justinus, he's being chased. How's it all going to pan out? I'll have an update again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and catch you again in the morning.